but we'll give it a shot. So question 22 is is that the elimination page? Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to number 22. So what's the first thing you guys notice about problem 22? And if you don't want to, you don't have to be a part of this. This was Derek's question, but you all could be involved. What's the first thing, boom, right away that stands out?
The second problem.
Say again. Yeah, I mean, isn't everything just kind of out of place? I mean, really, I mean, you could see it from a one perspective and say it's really not that bad. Like, I think that might be what Tatum was going for. Is it really the -9 is the only true bad guy? But if I, as your teacher, want to get all of you to see this at the same time, I'm going to be very, very repetitive with what I say. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself a goal. And I'm going to say, I want every single problem when I'm going to do elimination to have X here, Y here, equals here, number here. Do all of you need to do that? No. Like if you become confident enough that left and right mean the same thing to you, then you probably want to ignore this portion of the lecture. But like I'm just going to do what I said I would do, Derek. So I'm going to take the negative or the negative 12x and I'm going to move it to the left and call it 12x. I'm going to take the negative 18y. I'm going to move it across and call it plus 18y. And then I'm going to take the 12 and move it across and make it negative 12. As someone who's really good at math, would look at that step and say that guy's crazy, and they're not entirely wrong. But I just say, like, if I'm going to teach this to 55 people, I feel like if we do it exactly the same way, I like our odds better. So far, so good. Okay, I'm going to take the same approach with the second equation. I'm just going to make it look like x, y equals number, x, y equals number. That's like our battle cry. So the 9x is coming across because it's in the wrong side, become positive. The 4y is coming across to become a negative. And then, of course, the -9 is the one thing, or the -9 that can just stay because he was already on the right side, both right as in directional and right as in correct. So far, so good.
Mm.
Does anyone happen to notice anything else that I could do? This is one of those kind of flyer shots. I don't know if you'll even see it. Listen, we will talk a lot more about this in Algebra 2 when it becomes more critical that you spot this if you decide to take that class. But here I would say, look at the top equation. Do you see anything? I see that my question is still not prompting the response, and that's okay. Okay, let me ask you a more specific question. Is there something that all the numbers in the top row could be divided by?
Two,
Go bigger.
4.
6. So listen, if 2 and 3 are both correct answers, but 6 is the best. If you don't want to do what I'm about to do, you don't have to do it. I just thought I would show you. These numbers could scare some people. Those are pretty big. And so if you want to, when you see the opportunity, if you take all the numbers in this top row right here in the purple bubble, divide them all by 6, DJ, what do you get?
2x, 2x, 2y, and then
-4, right? Good. And then I could just copy the other equation down right underneath it. I really hope I haven't lost anybody in the course of this. That step I just did is completely out of left field optional. It is merely there to help you if you see it. If you're working through and you got an equation that's like 4, 6, 12, you want to divide them all by 2, you're welcome to do that. If you don't want to, you're also welcome not to. So are we good? Okay. Yes, sir.
So for right, how did you get -4 from -12 divided by -6?
I didn't. It should be -2. I think Derek maybe said that and I listened to him. You did say -2? Oh, well, how about this? I'll just take the blame so we can move on. Thank you for catching that. I just did bad math. You think I could talk and write it, considering what I do for a living, but thank you for the catch. That was a good catch. Thank you. So any questions other than that now that I've fixed my blunder? Okay, so now our job is to eliminate, right? And so which variable is more attractive to you? I have my answer. What's yours?
Well,
Okay, I would have picked the y's also. And the reason I think they're probably more attractive to us with elimination is because they're one of each already. Is that where you were going? And so I'm usually, because I know I have to multiply both equations. Either I got to turn the 2 and the 9 both into 18s or the 3 and the 4 both into 12s. But I'm more inclined to pick the y's because then I don't have to dork around with the signs, right? So what I'm going to do now that I've done all this extra work or the prep work is I'm going to take this top equation and the bottom equation, and I'm going to multiply them respectively by 4 and by 3. And again, the sweet thing is that I don't have to use a negative because the signs are already cooperative with me. Any questions about that? Okay. And now it's time to cash this in. It's time for us to not do what your math teacher just did. It's time, I talk a tough talk, a big talk about not making mistakes, but I make them too. You got to try to be as good, the best version of your math self that you can be. So now we're going to distribute 4 through the top equation. What do we get? We get 8 x's plus how many y's? 12 y's, and that's going to equal 4 times -2.
Negative.
-8. Good. And now we're going to multiply through the bottom row, and we're going to multiply this one by 3. And the goal of all of this, in case you're lost, is just to make the 12s the same. We want a 12y on the top row. We want a -12y on the bottom row. So when we add them, they go poof. So what is going to be the answer when I multiply the bottom row? 27 x's. Yep. Minus 12 y's, of course, equals.
Negative 27.
Good. Any questions yet? So Derek, since it was your question, is this all feeling good so far? Okay, so now what it's time to do is just officially make do on what we worked so hard, cash it in. When you add downwards now, how many x's do you get? 35. And something's about to happen that will make you feel like what we did was good. And had Aiden not called me on my dumb -4 thing, then this would be probably the first chance I'd get to look at it and realize that I had done something wrong, because you're about to see something nice. And what is -8 plus -27? It is. And that is usually a pretty good sign when you're taking a test where your teacher tells you that they're all going to be whole number-y kind of things, that, hey, you go jackpot, little fist pump, because you go 35 and 35 divide. And had you done it my way with the dumb 4 there, then you would have realized, okay, I made a mistake. And then you have the unenviable task of working back and figuring out where your dumb mistake happened, like my 4, right? So this is great. We're done. So we just say x equals -1 because we divide. Now, when I say done, I use the term loosely. Remember, we really are only halfway done. We know that the answer says -1, comma, I don't know. And how are we going to find the I don't know? Choose an equation, whichever one floats your boat. And I try to stress this to you guys, the whole freedom of choice thing. There are lots of equations on the board. I'm going to use my green pen and circle them all. If you like that one, use it. You like the second one, use it. You like the rearranged one, use it. You like this one rearranged, use it. And the list goes on and on. Oh, you like this one? Use it. Like you understand, like there isn't a best answer. I know which one I'd pick. And you probably agree. It's the last one that I circled, right?
Mhm.
Most people would look at that and say, I like that because the numbers are smaller. That doesn't make us lazy. It makes us smart. So I'm going to choose that. If Evan wants to pick the first one that was all scrambled up, you do you. Like it's going to work provided that we have not made mistakes and that we don't after this. So I'm going to choose the one with all the green stuff around it over here. And I'm going to simply cash in what I know. I know that x equals -1. So I'm going to simply put the number -1 right in place of, well, the x. So it's going to be 2 times x plus 3y equals -2. And if you were watching while I wrote, you know that I didn't really put x, right? I left a little space. And what am I going to put there?
-1.
-1. And now we just have to do math. What's 2 times -1? -2. And then what do we do to solve this? Add 2, giving us 3y equals 0. Divide 0 by 3, or both sides by 3. 0 gives 0 craps, right? 0 is like, divide me by whatever you want. I'm going to be a 0. So then our final answer is to put the 0 in the parentheses. If we know y is 0, then we say, bam, done. And that is number 22. So what's nice about number 17? And again, you all don't have to be involved, but you're welcome to. It's completely up to you. What's nice about it? Unlike the last one. Yeah, I mean, compared to the last one we just did, what's nice about it? Yeah, what's nice is that everyone's already in their correct places, right? Remember the last problem, how we had to like move stuff around? So I'm glad we don't have to do that. So would you prefer to eliminate the X's or the Y's? I couldn't care less. Okay, and you said we're going to turn them both into 15s. So I assume we're going to multiply the top equation by 5 and then the bottom equation by 3. Okay, what are we going to get for the top? Good job. And how about the bottom one? Minus 9y. Good job. And what happens there is we just made a system, or you actually, I just was along for the ride. You made a system where if we add downwards, something really good happens, right? The X's cancel. How many Y's do you get? Yep. And that's concerning when you get a number like that. But just like on the last problem, the number on the right is going to make us feel better because what's 5 plus 36?
Then it's 41.
It's really important that you pause right there and take ownership of this. When we do elimination, we are adding equations together, not subtracting. So a positive 5 and a positive 36 make a positive 41. Okay, we're not. And then when we divide, we get y equals 1. And then you can put that back. I know I would probably pick this top one. You probably would too. So that's a good place to put the 1 for the y. What do you get if you do that? Nice job. And then subtract 10, you get 3x equals. And then divide by 3 and you get x equals. And then you just write your final answer. So final answer, -3, +1. Done. That x by itself. Tell me what it's going to say.
So it's X equals -4.
Yes, you remembered. -4y minus 12. The -12 never had to move, so he stays minus, but the 4y, good for you. You remembered. If it jumps and equals, it changes. Now, we're going to put a box around all the stuff on the right of the equal sign. And where are we going to put that box?
7x 9 awkward void.
No. 7 awkward void minus y.
Oh,
The one that we got by itself is the one we're going to sub out.
okay.
Okay.
Awkward void minus y.
And what are we going to put in the parentheses?
-4y minus.
Job. And now it's time to solve.
Yes.
And the answer is always the same. When your teacher says, what do we do? You say, I distribute, I combine like terms, and I solve. Like it'll never change. So let's distribute first. What do you get?
28.
Except it's
Okay.
negative. Good job, Mia. -28y. And then you want some help with 7 times 12. That's kind of a whopper. It's going to be negative and it's going to be 84. Okay.
-84.
Yep. So, oof, we did it. We got rid of the parentheses. Now what do we do?
Then you combine like terms.
Put those y's together. How many y's do you get?
-29.
Nice job. And then what do we do?
Mm, negative.
I sure wish that -84 would not be there so I could, get y by itself. If only there was some way to get rid of a -84. Let's think. How could you? I have an idea. Let's do +84.
Oh, yes. Plus.
Oh. And then we're left with -29y equals 87. And then what's the last step?
5.
Divide both sides by.
5. 29.
That is not
Wait,
29.
sorry, negative.
That is much better. Very good. Divide by the -29. And then you don't need a calculator because you got me here. It's going to be -3. So that's why. Okay. Now, that's really fine and good, Mia. Here's what the answer looks like. I'm going to write it over here for you. The answer is blank, comma, -3. And where, oh, where could we possibly find a place to put that? the box. So you take your -3 and just put it right into that little box, and then you do some math. What's -4 times -3?
12y.
What is -4 times -3?
No, wait, positive 12.
There, yes,
Got it.
there is no y. The y is gone,
12,
kid.
so
Just 12.
12.
And what is 12 minus 12?
Wait, let's see
Marcus,
something.
which variable are we going to get by itself?
Top one.
Which one? The top one, what, x or y?
My kid.
Top x? Okay. So there are 4 correct answers. Top x, top y, bottom x, bottom y. You want top x, and I agree with you. So make sure you're specific. So if we're going to get this top one so that x is by itself, what will it say when x is by itself? X equals what?
It's equals 8y minus 4.
Correct. So we have x equals 8y minus 4.
Dang.
And then you know what I've said. Does everybody do it? Nope. I like to put a box when I'm doing the box method. So that's what I'm going to do. And then where am I going to put that?
You're gonna substitute it in the bottom.
You betcha. So that bottom equation is about to get a different look. It's going to say 2 times space where x used to be minus 2y equals 6. And then I like to go back into that space and plug in the box, which is 8y minus 4. Are you still with me?
Yeah.
And then from here, it's just beginning of the year stuff. Distribute, combine like terms, and solve. What do we get when we distribute?
The 16y and then 8 or negative.
Yeah, so 16y minus 8 minus 2y equals 6. And then what do we do?
You subtract the
Oh, no, no. Since you weren't with me in August and September, I'm not going to yell at you. But the correct answer is always combine any like terms on the same side of the equal sign. That will always be the right answer, okay? We're not screwing around with that 8 yet. He doesn't have any homies to go with because on the left side, that's like a little island, and I want to clean that island as much as I can. So you and I are just going to take old school 16y's minus 2y's. How many y's we got left?
14y.
Good. Always clean each side before you let the sides interact. Now everything is clean, and it is time now for -8 to go find his homie over on the east side. So we got to add him across, and what do we get?
-3.
No, we have to add it across. So again, since you weren't mine in August and September, I'm going to cut you some slack here. Ready? We are adding 8 to both sides. When we solve equations, we have to undo something to make it reappear on the other side. Are you with me? It would be 14. So we get 14y equals 14. And then we have to do what?
Divide by
Which gives us y equals. Correct. So the answer is blank, comma, 1. And where are we going to put the 1?
You're gonna put it in the equation with box.
The box, zoom, right there. Bam, there's no better place in the world to put a number than that. That's in function form. It's like it's input, output, ready. So if you put 1 in there, what's 8 times 1?
Times 1 is
What's 8 minus 4?
4.
Done.
I did mess up a little bit, but I did clean it up when I was looking at it with you guys. So
What are the questions you guys got? I can help you with 5, you say? Sure. So what happens is the first page sort of lulls us to sleep because all you have to do is graph lines. The second page wakes us back up because now we are not, these equations are not graph ready. You know what I mean by that? We have to get them to say y equals mx plus b or x equals 4 or y equals 3 or something. So we have to do the work. So with the top equation, how would you get y by itself? That's what I would do. Good. That's like a nice sensible answer. So the -4y would stay. The 5x would scoot to the other side and become a negative, and then the 8 would just move over but stay plus. And then what do we do?
Oh,
Right. And that when you divide, you should put division under every term and show it. Not because your math teacher said to, but because it really will help us. Seeing division is huge. So what is our y equals mx plus b answer? Perfect. And once you get it in that format, now comes the quiz of does this young lady know how to graph a line? So test number 2, how do you start the graph? Okay, so like right there. Is that right? Oh, so you didn't say that. So really you should just say up to or down to. And again, I can't prove this to you because you're not me and you don't watch what I do, but if I'm not tight about that, you would be amazed at how many people start the graph at -2. And to them, that means right here. And it is why I am the way I am. I'm created to be this uptight by 29 years of watching kids screw things up. So when we start a graph, make sure we use good words like up to, down to. So you wanted me to go down to, right? Okay, so we don't say we start a graph at -2, we started at down to. And what is the slope? Talk me through it. Good. And I know that an old version of yourself from last year would have been inclined to say up 5/4, but I'm starting to feel like I'm getting that trained out of you, and I'm proud of you for that. So yes, we use the words up, down, right, and left only. So we go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 1, 2, 3, 4, because at the end of the day, we want the slope to be positive, and that's how you make it positive. The sideways direction that you turn will determine whether your slope is correct or not.
mhm. Then you just go on.
Mhm.
Okay.
And now we have to look at the second equation. Are you ready for it, Randy? What's weird about that second equation? What does that mean? It is very good for you. If there's only an x, it's going to be x equals something, and that number will determine where we graph our vertical line. It's not quite ready yet, though. Like, how do we get it ready? The equation, what's wrong? 100%. Yeah, we got to add that 4 to the other side. And so when we do that, we get the equation that is ready, and that will say that x equals +4. And again, people still get these confused, which is weird in a world where we're allowed to make a page of notes, right? That should never happen, but you nailed it. It's a vertical line. And so we're going to go to the number 4 on the x-axis and make a dot. So if we mark it correctly, then we understand that only a vertical line would make sense here. Graphing a horizontal line, you'd be just retracing the x-axis, which that'd be weird. So our vertical line looks like this.
Is it negative or positive?
It's positive because we had to
No,
add it to the other
okay.
side.
So,
And then you've already graphed the other line, the red line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like down here somewhere. That. And then they cross at a point, and our job is to name that point. What is the name of the crossing point? Nope. Yep, it is 4 to the right and 3 to the up, and there's our final answer. Nailed it. Yeah.
minus 3y
Equals.
equals 21.
Mhm.
And in the algebra, you can put 3y plus 6.
All right. Now it's the moment of truth. Make good on your work. Distribute.
Then you just divide
What do you get?
negative 12y
Okay.
minus 24
Good job.
minus 3y equals 21.
Team Y. Bella, you doing okay?
On the elimination page,
Mhm.
when I got y equals -6. I don't know like how to get. I'm on question 20. I don't know how to get like
The other one?
Yeah.
You can pick any equation that you want. Mia, from here, just real quick, you're going to add 24 and then divide. You're going to get y equals -3, and then you're going to plug it back in. Okay. I'm going to head over to problem 20 now. So you got it from here?
Y equals 7.
You got it from here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's head over to problem 20. I'm just going to get caught up to you, Bella, just to make sure that everything has gone perfectly. So this one here. So which variable did you eliminate? I mean,
Oh, like, are we just starting over on?
yes, like did
Oh.
you eliminate x's or y's? X's? So you must have, I'm guessing you multiplied this equation by -2. Fantastic. So your top equation stays the same, -12x plus 4y equals 12. And then your new bottom equation should be +12x minus 2y equals 0. Am I doing okay? Okay, so we match so far. This is good news. And now I'm going to draw my line, and then I'm going to add. Those are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with 2y's equal to +12. So y is going to equal +6.
When would be negative? Is it just positive and negative on that?
When you add a positive and a negative, you're not allowed to get that confused with multiplication. Listen, when you multiply, that's true. With addition, it's just has nothing to do with that. Just 4 minus 2. So you're going to want to fix that and get your 2y equal to 12 so that your y equals +6. And then I can answer your original question.
Again.
And your question was, well, where do I put that? And the answer is, you have some options. So I'm going to circle 3 equations for you. There's equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. Notice I didn't circle this one up here because it's a repeat of this one, the first one. So I didn't count it. Which one do you like the best?
One on the left.
That's what most people would pick. And what I want you to understand is that once you know half your answer, which you do, you can put it anywhere you like. And so what we do now is we show our work and we recopy this equation down, except when we get to where it says y, we're going to change it into the number 6. So it's going to say -6x plus not y anymore, but +6 equals 0. If Tatum was doing the same problem and she picked this equation, she would have written -12x plus 24 because she would have done right here the 4 times 6. Are you getting what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if everything has gone well and continues to go well, we're all going to get the same answers. So let's solve yours. What do we do to this little purple equation down here?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Nice job. So we get -6x equals -6. And we get x equals +1. And we're done. So once you get that first part, you can put it wherever you want, dude.